Hello and welcome to Atlas's Velyn build. So just a quick overview. My Velyn currently has just shy of 19 million PvP kills. So I've been running him a little bit in the field, but not too much. And for those that don't know, I am currently in Season 2 as I've restarted my account, and I'm going through Season 1, Season 2 onward, and just building up my account. So if you've watched my Waldir guide, you know that I typically use Velyn as my deputy and not my primary, and we'll go into why that is later on in the video. So to start off, we're going to go through the overcap of his skills. So the first one, Frozen Star, deals diffuse damage to up to deals diffuse damage to the target and 2 nearby legions and inflicts Hoarfrost for 3 seconds. So Hoarfrost is March speed reduction minus 20%, skill damage factor of 1200. Diffuse damage means that each legion takes 15% less damage per additional target up to 50%, so that we're not hitting all 3 legions for 1200 skill damage factor, because AoE would be absolutely cracked. So this is a fantastic rage skill. You're hitting AoE, you're hitting a bunch of legions. I mean, it's not, 1500 skill damage factor, but we still have the March speed reduction. Now the second skill here, awesome name, Perfection of Form. This is an incredible passive skill. While in the field, Legion deals 15% hero skill damage dealt bonus and March speed bonus of 20%. This is absolutely cracked. Perfect. That is a perfect passive. It is fantastic. The third skill here, passive skill, is Bitter Cold. Legion magic units gain 10% hero skill crit rate and 15% defense bonus. So anywhere that you can get crit rate, fantastic. Magic unit defense bonus, 15%, which is absolutely fine. It's not an attack buff, but it lets you stay in the field a bit longer. And then Icy Interdiction. When in battle, Legion has a 20% chance to inflict magic defense break and Hoarfrost on the target for 3 seconds. So magic defense reduction 20% and March speed reduction 20%. Now when you're leveling up Velyn and putting skill points, you should go 5-5-1-1 or 5-5-5-1. That would be, maximum left to right would be my suggestion, but that's just how it's rolled for me because I went 5-1-1-1 and I haven't yet to awaken my Velyn. And then finally, the Awaken ability there. When casting a rage skill on the target that is frozen, Velyn deals additional damage and removes the target's frozen effect 400 skill damage factor. If you are prioritizing the March speed reduction, you're removing the debuff for 400 skill damage factor. Yeah, it's fine. Overly, I don't like removing their debuff for them, but you have 2 ways of applying it, so totally fine there. So moving into the talent tree, I'm gonna have, going to first focus on the control tree. Now, if I was running Velyn primary, or when I run Velyn primary, this is kind of more the tree that I'm going to be running. And we'll get into why the control tree over the magic tree. So first off, we're going to take the 3 basic talent points. The only time I really switch this is when I'm playing infantry. Okay, so we have the 3 main talent points up into Backstabber. And we're going to start by going right. So right off the bat, we're gaining March speed. We're getting an extra 10% March speed. So this talent tree is right here. We've got 6% with 10%, so we're at 16%. And then when you get the March speed bonus of 20%, we're at 36% March speed. So that's what this is for, is if your mages are closer to 31 to 36% kind of march speed bonus, this will fit right in there. So why is that important? All your mages will then be running at the same pace, easier to control all of them. That's why we're matching up march speeds. Next up, we're going into overall attack. Increases the attack of your legion units by 2%. So that's just when you're whacking them, you're dealing 2% extra damage. So that's per turn. Launching a normal attack has a 10% chance to grant you an extra 50 rage. Absolutely, we want rage regen. Now here is Soul Siphon. Counterattacks have a 10% chance to steal 40 rage from the enemy legion. Now you shouldn't be getting targeted. You should not be getting targeted. But if you do get targeted, you're just going to be stacking up so much more rage. Another option is going into when casting rage skills, inflict slow on the target legion, reducing their march speed by 15% for 3 seconds. Why? You're already hitting them with Hoarfrost. I mean, you could stat. No. We're gonna go with this, even though it doesn't really do much because you shouldn't be getting attacked. But if you do get attacked, you're gonna be building up a ton of rage. Next up, intimidation. Just more hero skill damage. We're stacking that skill damage now, so that's great. Then I move down here into ambush. When your legion launches a normal attack, they have a 10% chance to inflict defensive break on the target legion, reducing their defense by 5% for 5 seconds. Okay. Then we're going into Sage. Your legion has a 50% chance to gain synergy every time they inflict a debuff effect on the enemy legion, increasing hero skill damage dealt by 5% for 10 seconds. So we have here to inflict debuffs. We have our Hoarfrost debuff. So we've got a ton of ways to proc this. So this will be procced basically 100% of the time. And then finally, we've gone up here into getting the silence. So when your legion casts a rage skill, they have a 25% chance to silence the target, preventing them from casting a rage skill for 2 seconds. All this is doing is, if this lines up, this is just slowing down their rage cycle, right? So it's just a little bit of extra CC to slow down their rage cycle. Now, below that, Autumn Rains, when casting a rage skill, a debuff effect is dispelled from your target legion. This, why? If we're getting debuffed, if we're getting, hit, right? There's no real point in putting this in there. You shouldn't really be getting focused down, and if you are, you're kind of either out of position, you're going to die anyways, or, maybe you're running away and then you can turn around. I don't know. I would just take the silence there. Then we're moving over into the magic tree. So first off, we're getting that extra HP. Totally fine. Just makes us a little more tanky in the field. Followed by when casting rage skill, your legion has a 25% chance to gain 75 rage. This is fantastic. Foresight is absolutely amazing. That is much better than head held high for gaining rage. So that's fantastic. We're trying to maximize the amount of rage that we can get. We're trying to get the maximum amount of rage per turn so we can deal more skill damage. It's all about doing skill damage with your mages. And then right here, I've taken the defense break. Now, you could take 8% chance to add an additional target to rage skills that deal damage to multiple targets. You could add this, but I've just taken that defensive break as another way to apply another debuff to the enemy. And this defensive break should stack with magic defense reduction. So this is reducing their magic defense by 20%, and then we're penetrating another 10%. So I don't know, in League of Legends, reducing magic resist and then penetration are two different debuffs that can both be placed, so I assume that that's the same for this game. Now, the extra point, there's a few different places that you can put it on the tree. One place is in Tremble here, where I have it. When casting Rage skills, your Legion has a 25% chance to inflict Gloom, so another debuff, on the target Legion, reducing their attack by 1% for 5 seconds. So 1 in every 4 Rage cycles, we're just reducing their attack damage. It's fine. I mean, it's not the greatest, but we're just applying another debuff, right? So you have a few different options of where you want to play it. I mean, you could always get 3% more march speed. You could always deal 1% more damage to infantry units. So there's many options where you could move this 1 point. So you can kind of feel free to do that. So overall, we're not getting the most amount of damage out of the controlled tree. You know, it's all right. It's all right. It's definitely all right. This is what I would take. It's probably not going to be the best for Behemoth, but it's probably going to be one of the better trees for open field. Now, switching off and going into the second tree here, this is the magic tree. I do not think of it as being as strong. Okay, so I don't like the tree in comparison to this one. And we're going to go over why. So, like always, we take the same 3. It doesn't really matter if you go up first or left first. We'll just go left. So going through the magic tree, obviously the HP, going right into Foresight. That's probably my favorite node in the entire game. For just basic passives, when casting a rage skill, your Legion has a 25% chance to gain 75 rage. That means 1 in every 4 rage cycles, you're just going to get 75 rage. You're going to max out like what you're getting back for rage, which would be fantastic, because then we're getting more hero skill damage, which is exactly what we're playing on. Right here, we're getting the defense penetration again. Like I said, if you want to go energy boost, that's totally fine, but I prefer the defense penetration. And the reason is that I don't like this tree is up here isn't really great. It's not good. So, but it's fine. It is fine, and there is one really good point up here. But first off, I would go with infantry. So deal 5% bonus damage to infantry, which is going to be strong because you're mostly going to be attacking infantry. So that is a strong point. After that, we would go into Chant. Your Legion takes 2.5% more hero skill damage, but their attack is increased by 2.5%. I mean, I don't necessarily like that, but you don't have better options. I mean, down here, increase your Legion shield granted by 5%. Like, we don't gain shields. So, I'm not sure. Next up is Cry Havoc. When the target Legion unit count is less than 50%, your Legion deals 7.5% more hero skill damage. That's actually really fucking good. Really good. Shouldn't swear. That's really good. Shouldn't swear on camera. That's really good. 7.5% just helps you kill your enemies, helps you finish them off. That's really good for the open field. And then next, we're going to put 1 point here. I'm going to show you why. So right here. So when your Legion is composed entirely of magic units, you deal 2% more hero skill damage for 10 seconds every time you gain a buff effect, up to 10%. So really, I don't know. I really don't know, because there's elemental boost. If your Legion consists entirely of magic units, they gain vigor when casting rage skill, increasing their HP by 15% for 4 seconds. This effect can be triggered every 10 seconds. I mean, you might want to go elemental boost, and we'll see why. So we're taking 1 point in here. When casting rage skill, your Legion gains haste, increasing their march speed. So this is a buff effect. And this can only be triggered once every 10 seconds. But this is the only buff effect we have. We're dealing debuffs. Velyn is all about debuffs. And this is why the magic kind of tree doesn't really work. Because your points here, like you're either gaining the HP, which is fine, But then you're not getting this because we're not gaining that many buff effects. We're doing debuff effects. We're doing defensive breaks. All of that, but we're not really gaining buffs. So, like, where are we supposed to be gaining these buffs? Like, this is when you take skill damage. You don't want Wither. Like, that's the only buff effect we've got. So that's why that's why the magic tree just doesn't really fit for Velyn, because you're not gaining all the buffs. You're not using that fully unless your deputy hero is buffing you. Okay, that's the only time. So next up, we're going to go on the PvP tree. You got overall attack. We've got more march speed for that 10%, so putting us back to the 36% march speed. Then obviously we're taking Fury Flame. Just hero deals more skill damage. That's exactly what we want. And then right here, Army of Valor. Increases damage dealt by your Legion while in the field. So we could go right into the PvP tree. I mean, if you wanted to, you could slot here, still get that march speed, and then more rage regen. But I would prefer the just more damage. I would honestly prefer more damage there. And do something like this if you're using the magic skill tree, which really doesn't make sense to me. I mean, unless your deputy is buffing you, then you could use the magic skill tree. I just believe that the control tree is going to be a better tree for you. So next up, moving into pairings. Who are you going to be pairing Velyn with? Now, there's quite a few different heroes that you can pair Velyn with. Obviously, the main combo is going to be Lilia Velyn, right? Lilia as your primary, Velyn as your deputy. But this video, everyone wants me to do Velyn as primary. So if we're talking about Velyn as primary, you have your Waldir. Waldir is a fantastic pairing for Velyn. So Velyn Waldir, right? Or you could use Velyn Atheist, right? I'm always going to be a big promoter of Atheist. I just absolutely love that. Launching a normal attack has a 30% chance to grant you 60 rage. So that's just absolutely fantastic. We're getting more rage cycles, so we're just dealing more skill damage factor. We're pumping that out. So those are going to be your mage pairings, as well as if we're going to check out Moo. So Moo can actually gain you some buff effects, and we're going to deal an extra bit of damage, get some healing back, resist some of that counter attack. So we could easily go Velyn with Moo here. You could do Velyn with even, you know, a Bahorn. We're just dealing all of the AoE. Extra range gained per Legion that we hit, right? So we could do Velyn Bahorn. You know, that's not a bad pairing there either. We get another 20% march speed. So you don't need to take march speed then. If you're using the Bahorn, right? You don't need march speed. You could take the overall speed and put it into overall defense, because you gain all the march speed you need from their skills. From the second skill there, second skill there. Now, if you are wanting to use the magic skill tree, the hero you're going to use is going to be your Thea. She's just going to be giving you all of those buff effects. So if you're using Celestials, you could do Velyn with Thea as well if you are running Celestials, okay? But if you're running mages, then it's going to be your Velyn Waldir, your Velyn Atheist, your Velyn Bahorn. Those are more of your Velyn primaries if you haven't bought Lilia. So if you're not going to buy Lilia, you're not going to pay the money for that, then Velyn into that Waldir is probably going to be your best pairing there. So next up, we're going to move into artifacts. What artifacts are going to be the best for Velyn? So first up is going to be that Phoenix Eye. Phoenix Eye is going to be absolutely amazing with Velyn. So it's just going to give you that magic unit attack, Legion attack, damage taken reduction, and then damage dealt 1%. It's going to deal diffuse damage to up to 4 legions, 2000 damage factor, which obviously scales the more levels you put into this. So Phoenix Eye you know, and then later down the road, you can even exemplar it. So this is going to be the artifact for Velyn that you're going to want to get, max out, and focus on. Now, if you're free to play, another artifact that is going to be absolutely amazing is this Lakeside Book. The reason for that is this is going to be your epic option, right? And you're not going to use the Time Bomb. You're going to use the book here. And the reason for that is the passive on here is every 30 seconds, Hoarfrost, right? So every 30 seconds, you're going to deal an extra 250 damage factor. So that's just why we're going to pick the book as our epic option for artifacts. Get it, got it good. Now, pets. What kind of pet are you going to be running with Velyn? You are going to be running the Sapphire Fey Drake. So the Sapphire Fey Drake, you're going to build a better one than what Atlas has done. These are not good, as I've mentioned in every video, but that's what you're going to look to do, is build up a nice Saphiric Sapphire Fey Drake. There is not going to be another option for you in Season 1, Season 2. It's just going to be the Fey Drake. I mean, if you are running 4 or 5 Sand Lizards, you know, you're stacking the Sand Lizards together, yes, you could run Sand Lizard. But if you're loaded, free to play, low spender, you're going to be running a Mage March, you're going to be running a Celestial March. So it's going to be that, probably that Sapphire Fey Drake there. You're not going to be running a bunch of different Sand Lizards, right? There we go. That one was just, I'm just playing around with that one. So, anyways, hopefully you enjoyed that Velyn kind of overcap.